gonna see, the Broken World of Guilty Gear, the missing link, which is the first Guilty Gear game which we just got done playing.
My thumb hurts a little bit.
He's gone through the story mode, but I think collectively, like, just 1v1, we've gone through about 4 hours.
That might be a smidge generous, 3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we chugged it out today and the other day, and yeah, definitely got some feelings about it coming from Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah, Strive was my first gear.
It was the first one I really played, but like I technically had played Zerd and XX a smidge.
Yeah, I never really fucked with Exerd. But no, there's not a lot of content about the first Guilty Gear. But no one's talking about whether or not the first Guilty Gear is the best game that ever existed. Yeah. So I don't think a lot of people played it.
Yeah. I didn't play it, and I was all over fighting games, and really had never seen this case or disc or anything, and it's crazy how
but we have the copy.
Elusive it was. Yeah, it wasn't actually crazy expensive to get our hands on, like $20 to $30 loose, I think, basically, but damn, what a trip. I think it's 98 is when it came out, and they had a lot of shit figured out. So much direction. Yeah. Really.
We did find some jank tonight that we did not in our first time playing a couple days ago.
To be expected.
Yeah. Alright. Start the vid.
Classic status. Fast, furious action with awesome characters.
Awesome.
There's no way Guilty Gear is going to attract casual gamers, but hardcore 2D fighting game fans will find plenty here to keep them happy. These are just some of the things that people had to say about Guilty Gear back when it released on the original PlayStation. Today, Guilty Gear is best known for its use of 3D animation to imitate 2D visual stylings, but for the people that have really sunk their teeth into the game, they hold a lot of value in its excellent use of conventional systems and hyper-focused gameplay. Today, I want to see if we can find that in its debut appearance.
I didn't realize he was called Dr. Baldhead.
Yeah,
that was... first one. That was a surprise when we started it up.
Definitely has a weirder twist to him, it feels like, and even his moveset feels weirdly different. Yeah. So this has got to be 2-player mode because that's the alt color on Justice.
Who knows? We haven't unlocked Justice yet.
And see if these reviews hold true today, and it really is the title that they hailed it to be all of them years ago. No. Yeah, this game is terrible. You know, I've been around the fighting game block, I don't know if you could tell, but one thing I've avoided for a very long time is the legendary Kusoge. The word comes from the ancient Japanese haiku, which goes, "Beware, you gaijin. Watch JoJo's Adventure." Kusoge. Shit game. It means the game is garbage. But there's a bit of a distinction, because Granblue is a garbage title, but it also wouldn't be what I would describe as the word is more reserved for games that hardly function or are entirely broken, being immediately exploitable, which is sadly quite a lot of the older titles in the genre, since most of them hardly knew what even made the games fun in the first place. That's not to say that a Kusoge can't be enjoyed, but the fun comes along with the trailer park trash level of garbage. JoJo's, BB Tag, HNK, they're all heavily broken. I hope you like 9-1 matchups. Hope you like Touch of Death. Hope you like...
PB Tag's amazing.
Touch of Death. Yeah. I'm sure at high level there's more shenanigans of like, I hit you, now I tagged out, and now I hit you, now I tagged out, and you're dead.
Even at the low level that we play it, it feels like every round lasts about 35 seconds.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. That's why I don't want the choose your party screen, because the rematch takes too long.
You gotta get off your dick on that one.
basketball, though they're still fun in their own way. Maybe not in the way where you can look past the flaws of the title, but rather embrace them and find a new and enjoyable game that was intended by the developers. Some of them are Kusoge in bad ways, though, and that's what we're here to talk about today. It seems to be a bit of an odd trend where the first time
Cliffmere
ended up being the hot doggers back in the day. When you look at it and you go, yeah, they didn't have any idea what they were doing. They just kind of said, how about a game where you punch people, and they just call it a day. Guilty Gear's first impression had a bit more of a clear idea on what it wanted to be. It just did it with all the grace of a gazelle galloping into a speeding Land Rover. It wanted to be fast, and it wanted to be tense. And to a certain extent, I think that Daisuke's small team of 12 people
looks really ragged.
It just so happens to do it in a way where it becomes near unplayable once you know about its Achilles heel, and the wrist, and the 21 weak bones in its ribcage. But before we get to that, let's not ignore what it did well. The movement, while by today's standards is stiff and clunky, for the time were a lightning-fast bolt of control that wasn't too common within most fighting games of the era. A really fast run with a lot of aerial...
Yeah, it was. I feel like the thing that we noticed the most was, like, especially the air movement. I was playing Cliff, who doesn't have a dash. But in the air, he's fucking Superman.
God, air dash. Yeah, the air mobility. The fact that things like Chip still having triple jump, but having an air dash that's full
still
screen.
Having triple jump. This is the first iteration.
I just, like, going back, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if Chip always had 3 jumps? Oh my god, he's always had 3 jumps. Like, in a game where he can, full screen air dash. And then, you know, J2K fast fall down to the ground, hit you low.
Yeah, the movement is crazy. And also...
because you can super jump, you can, like, arc jump. You can start your movement and then do a crazy jump arc. Mobility is huge. Coming from a KOF, it feels like so
and that's
much less clunky.
Also what, like, the blue echo is behind.
Yeah.
Behind everyone. It's
like a dash.
Yeah, if you do a dash or a super jump, if you do some kind of, like, special movement thing.
It's impressive.
Get from one side of the screen to another really quickly. Though this isn't necessarily much compared to the hypermobility of today, when you consider the fact that full-screen projectile spam was a problem that most game designers were still discovering solutions to at the time, this is a pretty great way of solving it. Not necessarily by taking away the strength of the defender, but
also Potemkin has mad movement in this game.
Also more to grant the
like
a greater sense of freedom through
rushing forward command grab is pretty boss.
It was so good even that they did it right up until tomorrow's release of Strike, which yes, I am still bitter about the changes, but hey, keep an open mind. Maybe reinventing the wheel to be a square will result in hover cars. I fucking doubt it, but I digress. Basically, any button in this advancing sequence can be cancelled into one another, which helps to give the player simple yet effective combos where they can think more about what would open up the sequence rather than how to maximize damage.
It definitely
Since
feels
basically every game will lead to an okay damage output. I'm not saying that this is how every game should work, far from it, but if you're trying to make a fighter that is both fast and pick up and play, this is a pretty smart way of going about it. In fact, I think it does it even better than some of the fighters that it was probably inspired by. Like
Giant whiff DP.
It makes all of the cancel windows really wide, and so even though it doesn't have the input buffering system of most modern fighting game, it isn't plagued by the inconsistent feel of some of the games of its era when it comes to combos. It feels very freeform and unrestricted, and when you combine those two, it does make for a game.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the links or like the buffers were
feeling of control without
super tight or alienating.
Time. But realistically, that's all there is to write home about. Yeah, you could say that the characters are unique and diverse, and I don't think that I disagree with you, but the unique quality never gets to shine once you're aware of the game's larger issues. One of them being that once you're done with the arcade mode, where do you go? Training mode, I guess? Training mode, arcade mode, and versus mode. That's it. That's all you've got. Meanwhile, what came out the year before Gear? Tekken 3. And you've got all of them, plus Time Attack, Survival, Team Battle, Tekken Force, Options mode? I don't know why they call this a mode.
Volleyball?
Actually, both of these games do this. Someone tell 1990s Japan to get with the times. I think that you could make a pretty strong argument.
I thought a lot of the options in Guilty Gear were good.
Yeah, they were really good.
Separate, distinct modes.
Also, to counterpoint this, that was Tekken 3.
Yeah.
And, like, this is the very first Guilty Gear. Yeah.
I have Tekken 1. I could bring over Tekken 1. We could play it.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more rough
than
Tekken 2 or Tekken 3.
How would you compare Tekken 1 to Guilty Gear 1?
I think Guilty Gear 1 is much more impressive overall.
Nice.
But I think Tekken 2 is like a huge leap better from Tekken 1.
Yeah, I feel like it's like common.
Yeah.
Common sentiment.
I also played 2, and then, like, as a kid, had 2, and then went back and played 1 and was like,
with their own value, but they at least allow you to have a more valuable way to re-experience the single-player content. It's not amazing by any means, but at least it's something more to bite your teeth into. And then there's Tekken Force, and we don't talk about Tekken Force. It might have inspired this piece of garbage, and that scares me more than the passage of time. That said, there's plenty of games that are just arcade mode versus
RoboCai?
fantastic.
Yeah, I wonder if that was
Marvel 2, Vampire, the re-releases of Street Fighter 2. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I think Street Fighter 2 is trash. It's clearly not
all the takes. Yeah, let's go.
Instead, I'd say that Missing Link's issues stem from 3 core problems: meter, infinites, and instant kills. Now, the meter by itself isn't a problem. The bar goes up, you can do a super with it. Have a grand old time. You hit them, you get some meter. Isn't this amazing and revolutionary? And then you get them down to half HP, and you have, I shit you not, infinite super. Now, for some characters, this is big silly fun time and doesn't have too large of an implication on the game, because characters like Faust, Dr. Baldhead, unless you're in grab range. Justice, however, congratulations, you have just lost the game. The pushback, both on block and on hit, means that if Justice gets a super off with any kind of distance, she can cycle her super and there's no counterplay to it. Not
I've been saying.
Oh, so it's not just in the story, it's in the PvP too?
Every single interaction will come with a 35% HP dealing super behind it. Not that you're likely to ever get to that point, because Missing Link is riddled with infinites. Now, an infinite by itself isn't always bad. Sometimes it can add a lot of weight and suspense to a game through heavy consequences for reckless actions, like the way that Happy Birthday situation works in Skullgirls, where you can snap back the active character and infinitely assist. But they can also not be good, like the Dante Infinite in Marvel, which is long and slow, and I just don't want to be in this.
That's true, that shit takes forever.
It's all infinite. It's literally one input. Oh, that's fine. Who cares? It's not like, what the fuck reduce you to the taunt cancel, and some of you might be recognizing this from the future. I've got a pretty strong feeling that this mechanic became the Roman cancel, but I've got no way to confirm that, so put it on the wiki and make it.
Alright, we did not know about taunt cancels.
Any recovery from a move and costs some bar, which allows you to extend your combos and have some interesting decision making to do with your meter. Now, if you were to remove the meter management aspect and allow the player to just do it constantly, you'd create infinites, and it wouldn't be fun to play against, so most of us would agree that this is dumb. And that's a taunt cancel. It doesn't cost any meter, you can do it from any move.
Damn, Viking just teabagging on.
You could make the argument that it's kind of fun to do, since the taunt cancel requires you to time a motion input in between the button presses to cancel the previous move. But if you're the kind of person who's going to try and fight in that corner, I'm also going to suspect that you're the kind of person who'd argue that hurting small animals is fun. Maybe it's fun for a little bit. The infinites not hurting small animals. After about 10 minutes, the novelty wears off, and you're left with either RSI from doing forward kick, or you have friction burn from rubbing your hand against the stick with the constant motion input. Because of the taunt cancel's lack of a barrier and permanent access, every single
How's your finger doing?
Not the best, but now I might have a new strap for beating Justice. Taunt cancel, baby. I mean, Nagori Yuki's powered up arcade mode in Guilty Gear Strive basically requires you to cheese out his AI, and I've been trying to find any way to cheese out Justice's AI, and yahoo!
I've never had a fighting game boss that I thought was fun.
I spent like 60 to 90 minutes on Justice probably, and I just had to give up and go to bed. It's like I can't fucking. God, why?
Significantly better at fighting games than I am, so I have no idea what I would do.
It was tough. I'm gonna have to go back to it, and then you get one shot at biking, so.
Oh yeah, the post credits biking.
Yeah. So I want Testament. Fuck Justice. It's rough. The super into Dizzy into super.
I didn't realize. I thought it was a bug for Justice. Apparently, it's a feature in the game.
That's a pretty big bug, yeah. I'm seeing how, at high level, this is a shit game, but like picking up and playing it,
we've had a lot of fun.
Is solid. Is really put together pretty well.
Except for the insta kills, which I think
we're
about to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get it.
Revolve around whether or not you can implement one, voiding combo complexity and watering down decision making into can this infinite. Now if there was more complexity involved, like in some of Marvel's other infinites, or required more precision like a Shadow Deal loop, it could be a good time and feel rewarding. Though in its current state it's simply unenjoyable to do taunt cancel loops, and the ones that are even more simple make me want to have hands-on experience with seppuku. Though I'd be lucky if I could even get there, since instant kills are a thing.
This is what I want to hear about.
And I really like instant kills, I hear you say while shoveling down Doritos and clinging to your ground lethal body pillow. I do too. In fact, in Exile, I love them moments.
Where do you get around with a body pillow?
The internet?
Yeah. No, this is my biggest problem when we were playing Gear, was being ahead and not understanding initially how insta-kills worked, and then just losing the entire game. Not just like one round or one health bar, because you have 2 health bars in the fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Just instantly losing. And there were...
both rounds.
Yeah. And there was twice, you did it to me several times, I did it to you once, where it happened like at the beginning of a game. Like we were like 10 seconds in. And we just got fucking smoked.
This had an arcade release, right? Or was it just a PlayStation?
I would assume it had a arcade release, but I have no idea.
Because that's like the quarter guzzler. That is the tactic. Put just more money in the
IK
game.
People and...
Fuck yeah. Then everyone's like talking about it. They're like, that dude's got swagger. He IK'd 3 randos yesterday. And the arcade owner's like, yes, more IKs.
The thing is,
see what Leon has to say.
Are nothing like the ones in Missing Link. Just look at the footage here, see if you can spot the problem. How many rounds did I just win? Because you can count them on your fingers. Note how I used a plural. I have no idea why Daisuke thought this was a good idea, but you have an infinite amount of
because you're dead.
With no kind of trade-off for using it, and it wins you a whole game. Imagine if you were playing Counter-Strike, and you planted it on B site, and you just won 16 rounds. Because I don't even have to elaborate on this one, do I? Newer Guilty Gear titles continued with this mechanic with some finesse. It's a limited resource, it has a long wind-up time, you know, it makes sense. Missing Link just kind of throws it in there with no regard for what kind of impact it might have on the game. It's not even the case that more frequently accessible instant kills is the problem, it's the fact that there's no limit to how many times you can do it, and there's no build-up to the situation. Also, you win a whole game. I don't want to get hung up on that, but like, you win a whole game just because you hit one move? Another Kusoge can help me show my point here. Hokuto no Ken is a game full of bullshit. So much so that I'm actually planning on making a whole video about it, but that's beside the point. HNK also has instant kills that are more accessible than those found in Exile, but it holds back enough compared to Missing Link. You've got these stars. Certain moves take away these stars. If you hit your opponent with a particular super after you've taken all of their stars, you win the whole round. The instant kill requires you to think in specific ways and meet certain prerequisites to use it, but often, over the course of a full match, you'll meet them prerequisites anyway. It makes the game
we're going to use HNK as an example because
feels engaging. There's depth to an instant kill. Missing Link, you press B.
I feel like it's one of the more notorious
congratulations. It's not technically as bad
Infinite
as
games.
It out to be, in that anytime you see the red flash, you can quarter circle forward button and it cancels your opponent's IK, but it shouldn't be like this in the first place, man. If I'm really gonna dig, and I mean dig for positives, you could say that all of these flaws do build into making the game suspenseful, but it does it in a way that waters down them prerequisites anyway. It makes the game feel tense, exciting, and still feels engaging. There's depth to an instant kill. Missing link, you press PK and you might quite flip a wing. Congratulations. It's not technically as bad as I've made it out to be, in that anytime you see the red flash, you can quarter circle forward button and it cancels your opponent's IK, but it shouldn't be like this in the first place, man. If I'm really gonna dig...
Okay, you get the red flash.
For positives, you could say that...
Quarter circle forward with a button to cancel your opponent's instant kill.
Yeah.
And they activate the instant kill by hitting you with punch kick. And...
Or I think the red flash, and then they hit punch kick, and then you have to...
I think hitting with the punch kick that makes the red flash happen.
Yeah. Alrighty then.
Leon, we need more information.
we learned something here. I do agree that that's definitely the most annoying part of this game.
How do I infinite? It's not like there's no depth here, but it's not a depth that anyone would care about. What doesn't help is that, even as the reviews from 20 years ago point out, there's not a lot for the casual audience either. It's pick up and play, but it's not particularly interesting at an entry level, so it's impossible for me to recommend as a game to play in the modern day for people who aren't already deeply interested in the genre. Its system is so deeply flawed in plain ways that you're incredibly unlikely to enjoy it as someone who's more invested in fighting games. I guess if there is anywhere that the game can be seen as valuable,
do you think we're pretty invested in fighting games?
It belongs as a 7 out of 10 drinking game, because the instant kills alone make the game meaninglessly volatile. Actually, that's a really good idea. I'm definitely doing that when tournaments come back. Or as a place to reflect about how far Guilty Gear has come. If you're not familiar with Guilty Gear as a franchise, you might not know, but Guilty Gear has a whole lot of bad games. The DS one sucks, the MOBA sucks, the fighting game sucks. Isuka specifically. I'm still not over how bad this game is. While they're terrible, they miss the core of what makes
There's a Guilty Gear MOBA?
Missing Link still attempts to retain some of that. It's fast, it's tense, and it's trying to be accessible. It just so happens that it's unfortunately also very mid. But despite its fish out of water entrance to the world, it's still the spark that developed into the franchise that we know today. I never want to explore this part of the past ever again, but it at the very least gives me a lot of hope for the future of the series as we head towards the next release. Hell, if this can become this, I'm damn excited for whatever this turns out to be. And also very scared that it becomes this. Hey, you want to find out what it becomes with me? Follow Twitch, do subscribe, if you want to support directly, do on YouTube, Twitter, click bell, follow my...
This story has a bad ending, because Leon really does not like Guilty Gear Strive.
That is interesting. Yeah, so... I think this game's fun to come back to because of its art style. It's very distinctively doing its own thing. Music, sound.
Music is sick. It has like 40 tracks.
36.
36 tracks.
It lets you pick from the options if you just want to jam out to the OST, pick any song.
For like a 1998.
You can remap buttons.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a respect button.
Yeah. There's no respect cancel, only taunt cancel.
Yeah. Like, at least everyone has a super. I know that's a low bar, but like, everyone had at least one super.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's functional enough to just play, and you're like, maybe I can punch into slash, heavy slash, and like, hey, you're doing the thing. I just really like its mobility. It just felt like it knew its style and its look and its motion and its fluidity, and like, it looks a little silly and jank, but I think it's impressive. I think it's fun.
Yeah. Like, maybe we're goobers for like going back and playing retro fighting games, but I think I disagree that you can't like be into modern fighting games and go back and have fun.
I get that it's not going to be your go-to Guilty Gear, but it doesn't have to be. It could be like a fun game you play every once in a while or whatever. You could have, oh, I like plus R because it does a better combo system. Like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. But like, if your standard is like getting used to what you are now, and then going back to playing an old fighting game from 1998. Yeah. What are your options that you would go for? Because Third Strike wasn't even out. Mm-hmm. That came out the year after. So you would have any of the Street Fighter 2 variants. And,
True, yeah. KOFs.
Yeah.
Just like the standard stuff at the time was not being as wild as this game, basically. You know, multiple life bars, instant kills.
Yeah.
Not saying I love instant kills, but
yeah,
it gives the game personality that other games did not have. Mm-hmm. And if the instant kills were just like black screen, they're dead, they would suck, right? But it's like, it's a rainbow beam and dolphins, and it's like, okay, that's... Mm-hmm. Even though I don't like this mechanic, at least it looks good. This is kind of tight.
Yeah. Yeah, and then, you'd have Tekken. Mm-hmm. Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
There's Darkstalkers and... MVC2 wasn't even out at that point.
Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, Sam Show.
Which, honestly, is kind of what this feels the most similar to me. As for, like, another fighting game to really compare it to. I'm not sure precisely. Probably like Samurai Showdown 3 or something, but... This game still has way more impressive mobility and like movement than Samurai Showdown does, but still.
Yeah, it's also, that's not really Sam Show's bag, but
yeah,
the mobility in this game is really fun. For like an old title to just like air dash all the way across the screen.
Yeah.
Like, it's really silly, but it's fun.
And everyone can kind of do it their own way. Like Potemkin can't be air dashed, and thank God for that.
He still has a surprising amount of mobility, though.
Yeah. He can Mega Fist both directions still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can Mega Fist in. It's cool. A lot. What makes a character who they are in Guilty Gear Strive is still present in the original. Fucking Chip is crazy impressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
That his like clone is better now.
Chip is harder to block in this game than in Strive.
You know, he doesn't have Shuriken, and that's like his worst fucking move.
Yeah.
It's like, we just took out his worst move.
Shuriken's a meme move.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't here. I tried.
I believe you. I believe that you tried to Shuriken me.
Thank you. This game's just... Yeah. It's a different spice